everyone, welcome to our Claris FileMaker training course on how to build a custom CRM in 30 days. This training is designed primarily for beginners or those of you who need kind of a refresher with the Claris FileMaker platform. Over the course of 30 days, we're going to spend about an hour each day covering topics from the very basics of the Claris FileMaker platform in terms of the tools, the products, deployment, security, all those things you need to know about as you build a custom application. So keep in mind that towards the beginning of the training, the topics are more basic in nature. And as we get towards the end of the training, they're somewhat more advanced. I would say probably intermediate level topics. Now keep in mind this special part of this training is that while we're not only talking about the FileMaker platform, we're talking how you can rapidly customize an existing free CRM that you can download today. It's unlocked. So taking that CRM and customizing it to your organization's particular needs. Now, a couple important links to keep in mind. One is that if you need a copy of FM Starting Point, the free Unlock CRM, visit fmstartingpoint.com and press the button. And then our system will shoot you an email with the current links to that CRM. If you're looking for additional FileMaker training, visit fmtraining.tv and press the bundles button. And that will allow you to get more of this highly animated and somewhat energetic training material to help you through the learning process with the Claris FileMaker platform. Lastly, if you have questions about the FileMaker platform or you're looking for some additional help, maybe some one-on-one coaching help, feel free to email us at support@rcconsulting.com. Today's conversation specifically is about conditional formatting. So Margaret's got this document right here. We're going to jump into this. A couple things. So one thing is conditional formatting is an easy thing to understand and play with. It's kind of like hiding objects. There'll be more of a conversation about hiding objects again on Monday. But some things in FileMaker are much easier to conceptually understand, and you can play with them at a very beginner, very basic level. Or you can play with them at a much more advanced level. So once again, we're doing all this with the anticipation that everyone here is probably either a beginning or more developer. Some of you are very experienced, but you're new to FileMaker. Some of you have experience in other data systems. You know what I'm talking to. Some of you have done FileMaker, then you stepped away, and now it's been a number of years, so you're trying to get caught back up. It's one of those kind of things, it's a perishable skill, so if you don't use it, it kind of tends to rot and fall away. For me, I feel very if I take like time off and fly, if anything more than a month or 2 months, I start to feel really disconnected, like I've really lost my edge on that. So conditional formatting. So if I go into FileMaker real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize the Zoom stuff. So if someone asks a question, Zoom, Margaret, I'm not going to see it. I'm going to kind of stay focused on topic today. All right, so we're going to call this conditional formatting. So the idea with conditional formatting, it's the name actually in one of those rare moments in the world of FileMaker is actually what it is, right? Sometimes you have a name like Ubuntu Bufu 5, right? And you're like, what the hell is that, right? Yeah, so this one actually makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a field table called, we're in conditional formatting. I'll just call it numbers, right? Maybe numbers 2, create. Those should be both number fields. So I'm going to change those real quick. Change. And then the other one, we probably should just, for fun, create a text. I'll call it text field 1 for now. Filed. There we go. All right, so that'll be text. Create that. Great. Okay, so let's start with the super uber basics of stuff. So once again, we can look at this in starting point, but it's the same thing. It's just starting point tends to overwhelm you, so let's just focus on this one little bit here. Then once we get past this beginning part, we can ask more. Margaret, if we have questions about this, we'll do this. So I'm going to go into layout mode, and I've suppressed the left panel or left pane. So this is the left pane. If I do that, left pane, hide the left pane, show the left pane, hide the right pane, show the right pane, kind of thing, right? So what I will say up front is that when you get to conditional formatting, and it covers this right here in our written text, this is one of those deals where Claris, for whatever reason, decided that they didn't care about consistency in the product. I don't know what to say. That's why it has a big ass oops right here. The short version is that conditional formatting should be a section probably over here under appearance, right? Because conditional formatting conditional appearance or conditional formatting appearance. The word formatting or appearance should be in there, right? It really is. It should be a section here. It's not a section here. Why? I couldn't even begin to tell you what sort of decision led to that. It's just like there's certain things that are not over in here. Trigger setup isn't in here. We talked about triggers most this week, and conditional formatting not in here. Why? I don't know. They should be in the inspector. So what you do to get the conditional formatting, say that I'm in browse mode and we have a record and I have 500, right? Maybe this is our sales goal or our sales for the day, right? And so maybe we want to put a little note over here that more than, or let's just say less, the goal, let's just do it this way. So let's do this. We say we have a goal of selling $1,000 a day, which is good. So anything about that is good. If you have, say, $800 a day is decent or okay, right? Right. And then anything below 800 is not great. So let's talk about that. So we have this right here. I can kind of zoom in on this thing a little bit. I will zoom, Command plus zoom in. There we go. What I could do is I click over here and you'd think, oh, go over here and find the conditional formatting. It's not there. So one of two places is you click on it, you go up under wherever the hell it's at, format, right? And once again, these are the two that really should be over here. Or another pane over here, like they do a fifth one, right? But now we can't do that, right? Whatever. So you go conditional, right? Or you can right click on it. So you right click and you can get to that. Once again, so they have these two sections which should be part of it, but they're not there so that you can right click them or get them under the format. So conditional formatting. So here's the dialog that pops up. So this is pretty straightforward stuff. There's some sort of formula you're going to put in here, right? Conditional formatting allows you to dynamically change a layout object's formatting whenever one or more criteria are met. You can use the self function to refer to the content of the corresponding layout object in a calculation. I'm not going to use self in here. I guess you could do that, but I'm trying to keep this really basic right now. Okay. I'm going to say add, and I'm going to say if the value of the item is between, let's say, 0 and $7.99, okay, the color, the text color is going to be red because that's not so great, okay? And then I'm going to add another item. I'm going to say add, and this is one of these interfaces where you do this and you add it here, but then you make an edit here, and are you changing it? This is like editing the names of tabs in FileMaker or slide controls, tabs specifically, right? It's just a nightmare because it behaves differently than other interfaces in FileMaker. So just be aware that you have to kind of pay attention. You just can't phone this in. If you've already got 3 or 4 beers, you're half in the bag, and you're doing this, you're probably going to get to the end and wonder why it doesn't work. So if I go from, say, between 800 and folks can see this coming, 999, maybe the text color is going to be orange. Maybe it's kind of okay, but not super great. If you're colorblind, I'm a very bad person. Now, if I say add, right, because it's a behavioral change. So if the value is, say, greater than or equal to 1,000, right, these are very basic. I'm going to say the text is green and it's super amazing. And if you have a programmable icon color, you can change that. You can do all sorts of stuff. More formatting, you can have a lot of things in here. You can change the font size, whatever. In fact, I could make it bold. Let's do that. Okay, great. So I go to browse mode. 500 is red. 799 is red. 800. Now notice what happens right here. Remember we talked about triggers, right? What were the kinds of triggers you had? Layout triggers, object triggers. And an object trigger on a field, you could do it at the what keystroke level or at the object, kind of the exit the field level, right? There's a couple different slices of which way you do that, but there's like 3 different ones: on object save, on object validate, and on object exit, on object modify. There's like 4 of them, but there's one that's on object keystroke. So right now I put 7, but it's not red. So when do conditional formattings fire? They fire kind of on object exit, right? on object modify, on object exit. So if I say 7, nothing happens. If I click down here, it evaluates. So just kind of think about that, right? Even FileMaker, when they're writing their own stuff, understands that on object keystroke is potentially performant. That's not the right word. Is a negative performant influencer. I don't know. A negative influence on performance is not, it's not good. How about that? Not good, right? So keystrokes, if you have a reason for them, trapping them, that makes sense. With WebDirect, they suck because every time you do a keystroke, your browser goes, oh, I got to talk to the server. Goes the server, comes back. If you're in Pro or Go and you're doing on keystroke, your local client's handling it. With WebDirect, every time you do the keystroke, it goes to the server, comes back. So you're just, and if you type Richard Carlton is a worthless piece of crap and a horrible trainer, then you've only banged off the server 20 or 30 times, however many characters that is. I go 825, orange, 999, orange. We make our goal of selling 1,000 a day. It's green and bold. Okay, questions up front. I mean, literally, that's what you need to know. I am done teaching you really what you need as a beginner. You know everything you need as a beginner. So it activates on object kind of exit, right? You click on it, you right click, I say conditional formatting. These are these other values here. We could write these differently, right? Normally what I do because so I say add, and I would normally say the formula is, so I don't even bother, right? And I don't normally do self too much, but I normally say the formula is, you know what you could do? You could do something crazy like get current, like after a certain time of day or certain hours or certain date, get current date, right? And if the current date equals, whatever, it equals today, get current date, copy. Let's say if the get current date equals, well, you could try to, I don't even know if that would work. I could try to hard code a date. Let's try that. 6/23/0. No, is it 2/2 now? I keep forgetting the year. What year are we in? Now, if we pass it a 1, that means that the conditional formatting should fire. If we pass it a 0, it doesn't fire. So 1 is yes. Woof. 1 bark is yes. No barks is no, right? So if you have a tree in your dog, 1 bark is yes, right? Hit OK, see if that works, if it works correctly. So I'm going to get, I get a red color if it's today. We'll see. So browse, I don't even know. See, and so I don't think I'd have to go back and play with that to get because I think what's happening is the date is not formatting the date correctly right here. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to probably put what get is date over here, something like that. Try that. Saturday, 6/23/22. And if that doesn't work, there it goes. Right. So when you put a text in, it doesn't see it as a date. It sees 6/23-22. It might as well be Japanese characters, and I don't speak a lick of Japanese, right? But if you say get as date, then it tries to use its telepathy to see what you meant by the date. And of course, get as date will work differently in the EU in different areas because it's going to go, hey, Macintosh computer, what kind of computer are you? And it goes over here. And you say, oh, I'm a Mac, and it's doing this. And the same for Windows. And it's going to go to your date and time format, wherever the hell that's at. And it's going to see what region you're in, right? Where you're at. What is your status? Where the hell's the date on this thing? Date and time right here, right? Time format, right? And it's open language and region, right? So it says that we're in the United States, Gregorian. I can switch it to a 24-hour clock. I've been, my watch does 24 hours because all my aviation stuff is 24-hour, right? So it gets it out of here. So the FileMaker gets it out of here. It knows where you're at, okay? So that's how that works. It's awful quiet. Question on Twitch, can you copy conditional formatting rules from one object to another? I don't know. Probably not easily if I had to guess. Let's try that. I don't do enough of conditional formatting. I use it kind of selectively. Let's try it. So I'm here and I right click. So what I could do is I say, let's just format this with some funky stuff for a second. Let's make it smoking hot. And actually this gets into kind of a different, slightly different topic. So let's talk about white text with a green, with a, how about a purple background? Okay. Totally different. Okay. Right. But I put white text. White text. Okay, interesting. So there's something going on here. We'll get to this in a second. Margaret, remind me to cover order of operation. It's right here.
Yes.
That's the order of operation. Okay. So let's see if we can copy this. I'm thinking probably not. This is a format painter tool, copies formats from objects and applies them to sections. So I don't think it'll work. Like also if I put a hidden, it's also like a same kind of thing. If I put a hide command on here, hide object if 1 equals 1, I just put that right there, right? So it's got a hide object. If I click on it and I say copy, and then I come over here and paste it, yeah, it doesn't copy the conditional formatting is that icon right there, right? That little, and that's the hidden object. It didn't copy either one of those. So if you were over here and you say conditional formatting, you'd have to, that's one of these like kind of sandwiches. Why I would write it as one formula right here. If I could, assuming I had one state, it's just not, yeah, no bueno, right? So what I would do is I would duplicate the field and call it numbers 2. And then when you duplicate the object, that comes over that way.
Question. So for a field update that is edited by a different user, when does the field change for conditional formatting? When the user edits and leaves the field, or when the user commits?
You're talking about on like 2 users on a shared solution. Just say yes or no on that, Ken.
Server.
Server. Yeah, it's a shared solution. 2 people are. Yeah, it means that two people are collaboratively using it. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be when the update pushes down. Okay, so the short version is that if user A is over here, okay, I'm going to undo this. So this is user A, okay, and actually, if I go new window, it'll kind of simulate it because these are actually 2 different sessions right here. What happens is that if user A is editing this in the UK, right? One of you folks in the UK, Keith is in the UK. He edits this field, right? It's being shared. When he clicks out and commits the record, FileMaker Pro takes all the changes, if any, and shoots them up to the server. The server evaluates the changes, makes sure they're formatted correctly, nothing looks corrupted. It applies the data changes to the table, and then it releases the lock. At the same time, FileMaker server knows which clients are looking at that record or have, I'm going to use the word subscribe to that record. So if I'm in a giant database with millions of records, I'm probably not looking at the same record Keith is. But if I am, FileMaker server is aware of it, right? It kind of loosely knows. I think it probably keeps track of like the 25 that I'm looking at or the 50 I'm looking at. Once again, if you're in a list view, it typically will give you the next 25 in the previous. That's probably the group that it knows you're looking at. And if anyone makes a change, you get that push to you, okay? Well, at the time that changes, the client gets this 1000 right here, then the client itself will apply the conditional formatting itself, right? So the server's not going to tell you the conditional formatting change. That's applied by the client because it's rendering the layout, and the code to render the layout, like this purple crap here, is at the layout level. The client downloads the layout, and then it gets the data separately, and then it meshes them together and displays it for you. And of course, that's the way everything works with FileMaker is that you make the edit. So if I'm here and I'm making an edit, right, and I'm editing this, or I edit this one here, nothing happens over here. And then if I click in here, yeah, let me be clicking. Let me tab. Yeah. Let me click in here, delete. Yeah. No, I'm getting the update because I'm on the same machine, but if you tab, you don't release the record lock from the server. So this is not a great demo. I have to post this to a server and we could play with it. But that's the idea. You would tab if the person tabs through, once they get a script step that commits, or you flip a record that causes it to save, or you click out, like right, I'm going to click in here and there's nothing here. 1, 2, 3, click, right? Then it goes to the server, releases the lock, you get the update here, and then the local client tries to apply any formatting. So this gets to this issue right here that I'm going to zoom in on. This is kind of an important one because here's the thing. In a brand new FileMaker file, this is what we would call I'm gonna say this in non-Claris approved terminology. You can always tell that they don't pay me because I'm going to use some non-approved terminology, right? You ready for this? This right here field is butt naked. It has no formatting. It's in its natural state. Okay, butt naked, right? It's your birthday suit, as they say. Okay. Then, so that is but it has the default style for the theme. So there are themes and shared styles, right? So you have this theme called Blue Apex. If I want to change the theme to something else, I could do that. Notice how everything changed, right? I can change the theme over here. So there are a bunch of CAM themes. I'm not going to get into the CAM themes of what they do for the moment, but the idea is that there is a style that's applied to it in its butt naked state, okay? It's like the style that your parents were, because you're a combination of two parents and it's mixed genetics. So you got an idea of what you will be when you come out, right? So this is your default theme from your parents. Then you move up. I have a style on the layout. You can set up a style on the layout. Then you can have a custom theme or shared. So most of these are these items here are this whole idea of styles and themes, and we haven't spent too much talking about it because mostly for beginners, they don't give it, right? If you saw, I'm not going to anyway pick on this person at all. Zero, okay? Zero. And I mean this very seriously because I'm sure he is here, okay? But if I look at the file from yesterday, this is what I talk about when I talk about people like this in here. This person right here just wants it to work. That's all they care about. They just want it to work. They don't care about anything else. There's nothing wrong with that. But as a trainer, I have to recognize that for what it is. And so if I open up this file from yesterday, this is the one we were playing with yesterday, right? It's a copy of starting point. I did these kind of color-coded buttons here. If I come over and click over here, there's these things that are over here. There's a breakdown of the image right here. It's a little funky. There was some other funkiness that going on in a couple spots, some things over here. This text is on here on top. It looked better than this when it was given to the individual. Everything was lined up. So as he or she is rummaging around building it, they don't really care how it looks. They just want it to work. After it works, if they have time, if you have time, you'll go back and clean it up. So what I'm trying to do is teach you about the stuff to get it to work. I'm not trying to give you the finer points of artisticness, right? It's like, I'm going to wear a suit and tie, I'm going to have the Grey Poupon, and I only eat meals if they're $1,000 a plate. At a restaurant, that's $1,000 a plate, okay? That's not what we're trying to do. I'm trying to get you just to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and make a good solution. Basics, okay? And so this conversation over here, wherever it went, I'll back to this. These first 4 items right here, I'm going to zoom to 200%. This item here is the default naked state. These items in here are if you're monkeying around with the themes and styles. The one I want you to pay attention to is this one right here. This is user-defined formatting, not saved in the style, right? And so let's talk about this. So we'll go to browse mode. Let's talk about this. So this is its naked state, okay? I haven't edited the text at all. So let's go in here and say, as a developer, I'm Ken. I'm doing the hot air balloon action, right? And I want this to be I'm just going to say italic, right? And I'm going to make it a color of, where's the text color? Text color right here. I'm going to get the text color of dark golden yellowy, okay? So actually, let me do this first. Let's make copies of it, progressively make copies of it. So this is the first level, the base level. That's the one down here. And the levels are on top. So the one on top is the one that shows through, right? But none of these over here exist for this object, so all we have is this. So then I'm going to duplicate it so you can see the original one. Now I'm going to provide editing at the layout level. Okay, this is actually very, very important. In fact, some intermediate developers forget about this. What do we say? It was going to be kind of a golden yellow like that. So that is now a layout level edit. Okay, okay, and then I can, on top of that, so that I think we're up to right here. Actually, let's go to right. So let's go. We're right there. Let's go to conditional formatting. So then I can say, right click, and I'm going to get through this. I see the Discord flashing over here, but I'm not going to look at it because I want to get through this demo. Because if I lose my train of thought, we are screwed. If I say the formula is specify, if I say self equals Ken, I think that'll work. I almost never use self. It's one of those like newer things. There's self. So I think it's the referring object. If it equals Ken, then we will make it Strikethrough and purple. Okay. So browse mode, click here. So that's native state, editing at the layout level. This is the conditional formatting. So if conditional formatting fires here, it will take precedent because it's above all the other items. The item above takes precedent. So let's try Rick. Okay, that's all good. How about Ken? Okay, now, so that's native state down there. Then these are some themes and styles and things like that. Then there is formatting of the local formatting of the object on the layout, which is this one, right? This is local formatting. In fact, I'll just change this right here. It won't let me do it. Original native state, okay? And then I have, or they say default, right? Default for theme. Okay, this one here is local formatting of object on it's on this layout. It won't apply to any other layout. It's not saved with the data, right? And I misspelled formatting, just deal with it. And then this one here is conditional formatting. Really, they should be in kind of this same sort of order here. And I'm making a mess of this demo. I'm sorry about that. Let me hide that. I'm going to put this one here, this one. That way, it's kind of this hierarchical top to bottom, right? This is these two right here, my mouse right here. Those go together. That one goes to that one up there. Conditional formatting goes that one up there. Then there's one level above this, which is what the user does. Okay, and you need to think about this if your users kind of run wild with stuff. So this is, we'll just call this user formatting. So the user's in browse mode, okay? And you have all this stuff going on, and the user does Bullwinkle, and they make it size. So now what if I put Ken in here? So what if I change so the user formatting, the browse level formatting occurs below the conditional formatting. User defined formatting not saved in a style. Custom style saved on a layout. See, it's not a style. So this one, yeah, this is the layout. Conditional for somewhere in here, settings saved for each object do not alter the objects. They didn't put in here in this graphic the user's doing stuff in browse mode. So it's really in between here is the user in browse mode. Okay. So even though I could do some other stuff, right? But because it equals, notice that it took my size, right? It took my size over here, right? If I took the size, but check it out. If I say as part of that conditional formatting, I do more formatting, size 9. It will go, hey, you can't do that super big size because I'm overwriting you. So that should override that. I'm not sure why it didn't do that. Okay, what if I make it giant? See, there it's letting it go. So that's interesting. I'm not sure because one of them should be dominant. I thought the browse mode stuff, but the conditional formatting stuff should be dominant. But with size, it's not doing that, right? Maybe I have to change the font too. This gets into CSS and stuff under the hood. Let's try a new record. So I got Rick. I got Super Big Rick. Great. Save out. I got Ken. Ah, what if I am browse mode and I change the color of Ken? Ah, so the user is taking preference. The color and the size take preference, right? Yeah, Strikethrough is interesting. Well, because think about it, it's like size is an override, font is an obvious override. Strikethrough is kind of like if I was in here and I said, if I could explicitly say don't strike through it, style, maybe I say plain text like that. I've explicitly applied a style which is plain text, which is an object, which either could be, it says plain in the CSS, or it's a removal of all the other style. I didn't code this under the hood at Claris, right? What did they do? What will this do? Yeah. So when you say plain text, they don't put the word plain in there or do that. They just remove all the other formatting. So if I say style, where's highlight? Is highlight in here? Yeah, highlight's great. Highlight. Okay, I'm going to click out 1, 2, 3. It keeps the highlight. So it keeps the user's formatting takes precedent over the conditional formatting generally, assuming there's a conflict. If there's no conflict, it doesn't see the conflict with the strike through, right? If I say no strike through, which is kind of like hard to do, strike through, style, no strike through. I don't think that buys me anything, right? Yeah, see, so that's one of those deals where it doesn't see the conflict. If there's a conflict, the user browse level formatting takes precedent, which is also why people love to do this stuff in databases all the time. But in Starting Point, we are constantly, I don't even know if it was in this old one or not. Oh, it is in there. That's how old this goes back. So if I copy that and stick this in here, new record, and I paste, you paste this in, you get this crap everywhere. Then we put this is for all the new people, right? Who are not familiar with FileMaker. When you copy text, it has style in it. The style is preserved in FileMaker, right? So we have these little cleany buttons. On the newer versions of FileMaker, it's a little push broom thing. It strips the style out. It cleans the style. It literally goes in and removes all the style. So that is the raw text right there. Ken has a question. Ken's thinking about, does Starting Point broom clean all the fields on the layout? It cleans the fields that I thought were important or that my engineers thought were important. And we might alter those. So we might alter those as appropriate. It's an easy script to fix. I guess we could cover that real quick. So if I go, this is the X4. There is, if you download, the X5 was out yesterday. We came out with X5. We fixed all the bugs that we know about are fixed. It's in version build 5. In fact, it says 1 down there, but it should say build 5. And so if we go to contacts and you paste in like that Ken thing again. Now it's kind of ugly. Let me do it over here. Put it over here. I paste it in there. Where's the broom?
I'm here, boss. It's in the hamburger menu. We moved it up.
See, that's why you want to clean it. Doesn't that look like ass? I mean, actually, that kind of looks sexy. Notwithstanding my accidental yellow in the middle of 2 reds, right? Okay. Okay, so if this was my copy of FM Starting Point, I would come over here because I don't want to hunt for it. This is some sort of like conditional objectory something show object pop over menu.
So click the pop over.
I don't know. It's not show. There it is. And I would grab. It's a giant button. See, I don't know. I kind of like the old way. But what I did was I take just the icon of the broom, I stick it there, and it runs a script. So this runs a script called 704. If you almost never use it, then yeah, having it hidden is great. But I clean text up all the time. So in my copies of systems, this right there exposed. Once again, this is whether you use it a lot or whether you use it not. So 704, you go to script workspace, and you go to script. Can't find it. Just type 704. Hey, there's 2 704s, Michael. There's your next bug. Oh,
No,
wait
that's
a minute.
1704.
Never mind. It's not a bug. All right. These are all the fields it cleans. So if you have a field, so yesterday we're working on this doctor solution. So there's some new doctor fields in there, like last proctological exam or whatever Dan puts in there, right? You would add that field down here, and there's a function called text format remove, which is a built-in function in FileMaker. They built that in there to help you cleaning your stuffy. Okay.
Rick would like. I'm gonna let Ken keep typing. But Rick would like to know if the conditional formatting sweepy thing can run on a script trigger.
Sure, you could run it every time you exit a field, right? Remember, the road to performance hell is made with cumulative small decisions. As a general rule, I got to write that down. That goes on our book.
That was really good.
The road to performance hell is made with cumulative small decisions. Okay, so if you do a script trigger and every time you exit out of one of these 20 blah 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 fields, that's more than 20. It's 30 fields, right? Every time you exit out of one of those, and every time one of your staff exits, and you've got 100 staff, and they're doing data entry, and every time they exit a field, or they modify the field or whatever, it runs the entire script. You could actually have it do a clean on a per field basis, right? Like have a script that just cleans that one field, and it runs it. Yeah, absolutely, you could totally do that. I just don't, because I only want to run when I want to run, and not like religiously all the time, because 95% of the well, let's just say 90% of the time I don't need to do cleaning on my database. Can you review export to a file, specifically setting a temp folder? Yeah, that's not a 8-minute conversation here, right? So exporting, we have in starting point, we already have a script that will export or using a single scripting export record to temp location. We'll add that to the list. It's in starting point. You can. Where is that at? Is it over here? Where does that go? Contacts. It was a button. Was it on the side? Michael, where was that at? If you're in here, it's a script that you could follow. So here's what Ken's asking. He's asking several things. One of the things he's asking is if I push a button, I want FileMaker to create actually, I could go into the model database and show it to you. Let me just do that. This is some modeling documents on a very large studio size eagle. Doesn't matter. It's a TV show from the old days. It's kind of what, if actually Elon Musk made a recyclable, usable spaceship, it probably would look a whole lot like this. Anyway, so what this is that these are images here. It doesn't matter so much as what we're exporting. This could be a PDF, it could be a text file. The point is that you actually have to write a little bit of script code to make this work. So I go script debugger. I'm gonna turn this on, I'm gonna active. So I wanna see this document right here. It could be a PDF, it could be an image, it could be anything. It's in a container. I'm gonna click this button right here. It's gonna run this script. So here we go, the lines of the code. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set a variable, the target, okay? And so what I did is I passed it the name of this container right here. So that's earlier, right before the broadcast started, we were talking about buttons that can tell you what button they pressed. I had to hard code the name of the container into this button here, if that makes sense, because yeah, you can't tell. So this button calls a script and it passes the name of the container right here. So then I go over here and I say set field G container to data, evaluate the target. Okay, so what if I do that? I go to data viewer and I can look at what it is it says, so what the target is, the table over here is called content container 3. Okay, it's in there. Then I'm going to say set a variable $path that will contain a couple things in it. It will contain the container, right? Get as text. It's also going to do this other little song and dance over here. You can recycle this code out of here. But the short version is if you look at this, it's going to, right here, the temporary path, okay? It saves a temporary path, and then it builds all these things together. So you have in the final path, you have the path, and then this is where it's going to save the file to, okay? I normally like to save the files to the desktop so I can get to them. In this solution, it's saving it to the temporary path. The temporary path, for those what it is a hidden directory buried in your computer that gets purged. It's buried way down, hidden somewhere where you could never find it. Probably in Windows, it's under. Yeah, like there is definitely a temporary. If I go to users and Richard Carlton, buried down in here, hidden somewhere, is a temporary directory, and it's got alpha 3. The characters are all like kung fu, doesn't make any sense. It's not called temporary path. And what happens is that it's randomized. And so when the computer restarts or after a week or 5 days or whatever it is, the operating system purges that directory. It empties it out, it deletes it. So the idea is that it's temporary until the operating system blows it up. Okay, generally it's operating system. Sometimes FileMaker will instruct it to delete it, but that's a temporary path. You can also set this to save to the desktop path, which is great because then it saves the image to the desktop and I can get at it and chew into it a little bit better, right? I like to do that. People say, well, it's junking up my desktop, okay? It's junking up my desktop, right? It's whatever you want to do. There's a lot of different path options you have. So that's how this works. The script is right here. It's in starting point. In starting point, we actually create a PDF, and during the process of creating the PDF, we pass this final path. We do the same construction, and then all this is down the same. And then right here at the end, it's either export a container, save as a PDF, export records. And then you pass it this final path. And then it saves the PDF there, it saves the exported container there, it saves the exported records there.
Cool.
So question, I want to verify the export before I set the, I want to verify the export before. Well, then you want to save it to the desktop, right? Actually, let me just do this. I'm responding to a question that Ruben had. Okay, so I'm going to do an export right here. Yeah, right there, automatically open save file. So if I do an export, and I do XLSX format, and then I set that, and then I go here, then you're going to do the worksheet. Let's just say continue. Then you're going to have the fields. Maybe I'll just do first name and last name and phone number and 1 and 2. I say export. Then if I have Excel on my computer, which I do, but it's not licensed on this computer, it opens as read-only, it opens as Excel. So it's spinning up. I don't use Excel that much. And there it is. Yep. So that's a checkbox it's a checkbox when you do it manually. It's also a checkbox in the script step. So if you go to save a copy as a PDF or export the container, like in that model file I have, if you look at that, if you go to the script workspace, it goes to the container export, this one right here. Right here. This is the dialog. Specify the target field. There's the target field, but it's programmed to that. And then we go here, final path right there. I don't know if I can't really zoom in on it, but automatically open the file right there. So the path, so we construct the path, right? All those steps up here, construct the path. We pass the path in a variable and we check that checkbox. If I don't check the checkbox, that doesn't open it. It just exports it. You don't see it, which is maybe what you want. All right, cool. Well, that's it for today. We'll catch all of you tomorrow with Michael. Michael will be here. Please be nice to Michael. He's a live stream. He's scared of you, some of you, right? He's a nice guy. He's a FileMaker coach, but he doesn't normally coach 50 people simultaneously, right? So you guys be nice. If someone's going to be in the principal's office if I get a report that they've been bad, Ruben. Okay. All right, everyone. I greatly. There was Jim question. My version has nuggets. Dan says my version has nuggets. Right on. Cool. All right, that's it for today. See you tomorrow. Bye.